Okay, the easiest thing would be just to describe this to you. This is to teach students new vocabulary. So you need Microsoft Word, a graphic organizer, Socrative, online resources like forbetterenglish.com and Quizlet. So to begin the process, you have students read a passage of the HSA, like this one in particular. This is from 2008 exam. And instead of answering the questions here, you just build these into a Socrative test as a pre-assessment. Then you record the results. From there, students access the passage itself and they put it into a Word document. The reason Word is important is because Word has a find, Control-H function that allows students to take all of the highlighted terms that they don't understand and then build them into a list. That would be easy for the student then to copy and paste into a Quizlet card deck. So now the students have a personalized vocab list of all the terms that they don't understand. We're going to use the term rec so that you can see how this moves forward. From here, the teacher takes a look at all the decks and identifies some key terms that all of the students are having a hard time with. From here, the teacher has the students break up into small groups, and then the teacher models the process of using this graphic organizer along with a vocab study. So the words themselves, let's say the word rec would go into the word box, and then the teacher would talk through. They would say, okay, what do I think the word means in terms of the passage? Identifying the section of the passage and writing it in, and then using online resources to figure out what the term means itself. We see that it's a noun, and then we get some definitions of it so that you can build that into the graphic organizer. From there, what changes is that the student then uses this site called forbetterenglish.com, and on forbetterenglish.com you can enter in this term, and then you can see all the different ways that that term can come up. So it takes into account context. So the students then take a look at this and they analyze the results to determine the multiple ways that the term changes meaning depending on context. They enter that in to the graphic organizer. Once they're done with that, they look back up to the sentence and the context of the passage itself, and they identify what the meaning must mean based on the passage context and the possible meanings they found from forbetterenglish.com. And they enter that in here along with a sentence demonstrating that they now understand what that term means based on the context within the passage. This teacher collects those, the students present them to the class, and they all learn from one another and one another's work. From there, the students engage in small group, in a whole group format with playing with lexical cards activities I found on this site. And all that is really is taking those terms that they just learned, right? So let's say rec, we're still working with that word. What the teacher would do is they'd give, he or she would give each student an index card, and the teacher would engage in an activity where they run off a list of terms. They can write them on the board to help students. They can state them in dictation fashion, however you want to do it for UDL purposes works. So on the back, there's nothing on the front of the index card currently. On the back of the index card, the student has to take all the words that the teacher's giving them and then categorize them in terms of parts of speech. Then based on those terms, the student has to try to identify using their vocab list and the terms which of the words it refers to from the vocab passage. That's handed in and used as a formative assessment. There could be follow-up on the activity, and then while the next time they meet, the students are working on their Quizlet decks, creating vocab terms, the teacher can walk around and just touch base with students based on the information they provided from that activity. Then students are given a choice to continue to engage in the Quizlet deck, to construct personalized statements with the terms, or to complete a multi-short passage activity, which the teacher generates using some of the basic terms that were identified from the reading passage. And the students have to demonstrate some form of proficiency in one of these activities in order to get to the next step, which is to show that now if they try to do that Socrative assessment again, if they do the reading again and take the Socrative, there should be some improvement in the results. They follow up with a short self-reflection and how the guided vocab study helped them, and then the teacher reads this and files it in the student portfolio. So that's the basic process for teaching vocabulary using concordance and lexical cards.